And anyway, the issue is that I spoke to him generally about the need to know more about Israel, and he went deep into it, became a scholar, and he became a pioneer also. And so this book is welcome, and we need to know more about Israel because we have some intimate connections with Israel in the past, or the Jewish community in the past, which we need to be told, our people need to be told. The Bangladesh war was brought to a successful conclusion because of a Jewish general of the Indian Army. I mean, he was born and brought up in India, and so he became a general at that time when he was his name was General Jacobs. He got a medal. He became governor of India, of Punjab, I think. I knew him personally, very jovial fellow. And had it not been for him, we would not have been able to capture Dhaka. And he actually flouted the orders that were given on the pressure of the Soviet Union. And perhaps Henry Kissinger had gone to Moscow. Maybe there was Americans also involved. And the Americans did send the 7th Fleet, a bit late, but they did. The whole question of the Indian Army had reached the stage of outside Dhaka, but Dhaka is where everybody was there, General Niazi, everybody was there. And if we hadn't taken Dhaka, then I don't think that Bangladesh would have come into being. And it was single-handedly decided in opposition to the official policy. He himself took the forces. He swam across a very big river and reached and was able to persuade Niazi to surrender. And he surrendered with 100,000 Pakistani troops. And then he was subject to court-martial by the government of India. And the question was, why did he disobey the order sent by teleprinter from Delhi by General Manik Shah? And he had a very simple answer for which he was acquitted. And that was that there was no electricity, so the teleprinter was not working. And so he had to make an ad hoc decision, but he succeeded. So, we have had this kind of thing. We have had people who built the harbor in Bombay. The Jewish community had come to stay in India over the last century and a half. And it's the only place, they themselves say, where the Jews were never persecuted or even put at a disadvantage. And this is what has brought us together. The Indian population and the Jewish population have a lot of common views. We have the same attitudes to education. And right now I'm in the process of setting up a Hindu Jew association. I can't bring the others. Of course, Hindu, according to the constitution, includes Buddhists, Sikhs, and Jains. And nowadays, I also include the Parsis because my wife is a Parsi, so I can, with authority, do so. But the Muslims and the Christians in the United States were not ready to come. So we had to do without them, and it's coming. I think this has become very necessary because the two communities, through their intellectual power, have become great forces. So I think this whole subject is very important. I agree with the Excellency, the Ambassador. Arab-Israel conflict has become now it's no more what it used to be. There's no question of some 100 million people surrounding 10 million people. It's now Israel has good relations with most Arab countries, and I know from my friends in Saudi Arabia, it's not very far away when Israel and Saudi Arabia also have formal formal relations. So the attraction of Israel has been their brain power being converted into usable utilities. For example, desalination of seawater. And that was a genius work of Israelis. Similarly, the drip irrigation, which now is being used in Maharashtra extensively. So there are so many areas in which the Jewish community or the Israel has helped India. During war, even when we had the most hostile relations, because of the fact that we are connected with the Arabs and the Soviet Union, still in terms when we had a war with Pakistan, there was a great deal of help from Israel in a secret basis. Even the Russian tanks, I think it was called T-14, we didn't have spare parts, and the Israelis were very quick. They went to Czechoslovakia, which had the Russian Soviet Union had collapsed at that time, and the tanks in Czechoslovakia were of no use because Czechoslovakia later on became two countries, but they developed good relations in the United States. So they went and cannibalized these tanks and got us the spare parts, which helped us to win the Bangladesh war. So there are many various ways, and so the connection between Israel and India is bound to grow. I was a part to a conference which was called by Swami Dayanand Saraswati, who had his ashram in Coimbatore, and the chief rabbi of Israel. He came to India. Then there was a meeting in Israel, and there was only one difference that the Israeli the rabbi raised, that you are polytheistic religion. We have only one God. And Swami Dayanand Saraswati removed that misunderstanding. He said, we have only one Ishwar, but the manifestation of that Ishwar is in many. I mean, they all, whether it's a Shiva or Vishnu, or all come from the apex called Ishwar. So with these connections, I think we have to move forward. I personally am sometimes surprised at the fact that people talk about the Palestinian homeland. You know that Jordan, I think 56% Palestinians, population-wise, right. And who says that the Palestinians don't have a homeland? They have a very much of a homeland. Jordan is a beautiful place, a very nice place, but the focus is on Israel, because Israel is a democracy. Israel is a country which is not amenable to the terror activities of some of these neighboring stations. So the issue is not of Palestine being given a homeland. They have a homeland, but the fact is they should not be pushed out, and therefore there was a creation ultimately agreed to, in which there is a Palestinian Authority. So we cannot treat Israel as one of the many countries that we treat in our foreign policy, that we are in good relations with everybody. If a choice has to be made, then Israel, naturally, for all that has happened in the past and the future, and the connections we have culturally, all this put together, I would say that it is most important today that we have stronger and stronger relations with Israel, and that can only come by reading about Israel, studying about Israel, being in Israel, learning the technology from Israel. In Israel, I've seen on their beaches, many of them practicing yoga. So they are also learning something from us. And I think music and all these things are slowly going across. So I think this kind of attempt, and here our friend who is now a professor, I knew him, as I said, as a student. Now he's a professor, a distinguished writer, and therefore a person like that who's devoting his entire his work in academics to Israel is something that we all welcome, and so I'm very grateful for the invitation and very thankful that I had a chance to speak. And thanks again to our Vice Chancellor, who has made JNU so peaceful that I thought it had been closed down. When I was told I should come for a function in JNU, I said, "Is it still open?" And because that's so quietly done, she knows how to handle our Modi government also. She knows how to manage them, and it's not easy to penetrate JNU, and therefore I think this university has a great future because of the sheer infrastructure that is there, and the quality, and some of the things that you do, like very low fees and so on. So I thank my friend here, Professor Kumaraswamy, and of course the Vice Chancellor, Madam Vice Chancellor, and of course the Israeli ambassador. And not only he's personally a very affable person, but a country which has always been warm to India in war or in peace or whatever. And that's why I think we should all celebrate today's function. Thank you very much.